We used to not pay them, feed them, because we had to fix their mistake. Now I'm against that. My dog is, especially on a young dog, on an older dog it's different, but on a young dog, my dog is crooked. No, pop in. Yes. That way the correction leads to drive. I do feed fixes all the time now. Okay, so here's how something very good. I can bring Slayer out if you want for this. I do a lot of back tie playing with my dogs. A lot of back tie playing. I teach them how to bark. So I always give the joke, we spend the first 11 months of a dog's life to teach them to bark, and the next 12 years to shut up. Shut up. But I do a lot of my obedience in protection without a helper. I do it myself as a game. They're not in aggression. They're not doing the aggression. Oh, and people are asking me, well, why would I ever work a dog in defense? So you guys, what was Francis Metcalf's formula I told you yesterday? Time plus energy equal prey drive peak. The longer I'm in prey drive, this will wane. You always want to end your play on this side of the hill, especially on a young dog. Not when it's like a saturated solution and they're like, I can't handle anymore. End your prey drive on this side of the hill, never on this side. So why would I ever tap into a dog's defense? Why would I even use that drive? Defense should be a catalyst to kick it into prey drive. So defense, I can touch on defense whether a dog's hot, tired, thirsty, a bitch in season. I can always tap into that drive. I don't want to ever give bites to like I did Bob's dog ever again in defense, because then the dog bit to get rid of the stress. That was a problem in my bad training. That I still see some helpers do that. I disagree with this 100%. You're giving bites in the unhappy window. So let's say Britt and I are at a restaurant. My wife and I are at a restaurant, and a big guy comes up and he says something inappropriate to my wife. And I stand up and I say, excuse me? And the guy says, I'm sorry, and takes off running. And I look at my wife, honey, still got it, baby. But now you picture that same example. He says something inappropriate. He said, what are you going to do? And I'm like, as hard as I can. He goes, that's all you got? I'm like, run, honey, run. I just gave him my best shot. So here's where helpers really screw up. And this is something you can always evaluate with a helper. So the dog, let's say that chair's the dog. And you're holding the dog, and I come up on the dog and I put it in defense a little. That's defense for a dog. They're like, whoa, that felt kind of real. And they bark. I want them to see me move. So they'll say, good boy for chasing off the bad guy, kind of. But that feeling you had of that challenge caused me to go into prey. That's happy. That dog's like, I got it. I come on them again, they bark. And I go into prey with arms moving. They're like, I do this, he does that. My job, we call that active aggression versus reactive. I react to his action. What was I doing with Bob's dog? Making him reactive. It's exactly wrong what I did. With this though, the dog is becoming super confident because I'm controlling the situation. He's understanding the game. Here's where helpers screw up. They come on the dog, defense, and the dog's like, I'm giving you my best shot. And I come on again. And the dog's like, I'm giving you my best shot, that punch example. I come on again, now the dog goes into avoidance behavior, the leash goes loose. And now the helper's like, I screwed up. Now they take off running. What got prey? Insecurity. Insecurity got prey. And that is exactly opposite of what we want to do. We want protection to be fun. I always talk about UFC fighting. I don't know if you guys watch UFC. Yeah. UFC is great. But one of the things I want our dogs, all of our dogs, to be like a UFC fighter. They still cry at their kids' recital. They're tender towards their kids. But you have no clue at the airport what he's capable of. Yep. I want all of our dogs to be like that. No one even knows.
Yep.
They're friendly, they're confident, they're happy. People can come over until it's time. But now you touch one of his kids and you see what's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
You're going to see the beast unleashed. So all that to say, when we're doing protection, there's a lot more that goes into it than people think. They're just saying, oh, he gave a bite there. I'm like, I don't think you understand what's going. Like one guy came out twice with his dog. He says, "Oh, I see how you do it. I'll have my neighbor do it." I'm like, "Oh, good luck."
How's that working for you?
But so they don't understand these little nuances. So one time I did a video and I put it on social media. I said, "Watch how I can switch this dog's drive by barely moving," and it was on the round table there. The dog's barking a nice prey aggression, and all you see is me turn a little bit like this, and the dog completely changed. And there was somebody right behind me with the video in the eyes, and the eyes change. You could see, people say, "Joel, what do you see in their eyes when they're in aggression?" And if you want, I can bring Slayer out at the end of today, and I can put a sleeve on it. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You'll see him change. His eyes, I am right here, he'll be friendly. Hey you guys. You come with a sleeve, no sleeve, the suit, and I give him his cue. All of a sudden, like the bell rings in a boxing match, his eyes will change. I don't even know how to describe it. But if you want to experience that, I have no problem. I'll show you how to take a bite and everything else. Because then you won't be afraid.
I think it'd be really interesting.
Protection is so misunderstood. Somebody said, "You're teaching dogs to bite?" I'm like, well, all dogs bite. I'm teaching them when. I think the number one dog bite 3 years ago was Cocker Spaniel. I heard
For many years it's been Cocker Spaniel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chihuahuas.
Yeah, I'm like, they've never been taught to bite. All those dogs, that like, I got bit by this Akita. I was so mad. It was in my, obedience class. I was showing the lady how to put the leash on. I didn't like doing anything with the dog. It just came and bit me. And I came on the dog, then it rolled over screaming and peed on itself. I'm like, please take. I would have liked if he bit me and I had to choke him out. And I'm like, well, at least you're tough. You've already done the damage. I'm like, oh, I hate that. Man, please take your dog, go home. I'm angry. I'll see you next week.
You got angry?
Oh, I did. I was polite, not rude, but please take your dog and go home. But I want you to realize, though, if you have a sharp dog, so if you put things onto scales, to me everything's on scales. A highly aggressive sharp dog, like, man, my dog at home sounds like it wants to kill people. And then you have the very lazy couch potato, that whole spectrum that's in between. I like a balanced dog, by the way. You have to be honest with yourself. So if you have what you're going to deem a very aggressive, dangerous dog, I'm not saying do bite work, I'm not saying do bite work. But I've seen almost all aggressive dogs have horrible obedience. Obedience is the great clarifier. Do you remember when I first got Slayer?
Mm-hmm.
You remember? That dog was so mean.
Mm-hmm.
That dog was straight
That's
mean.
why you got him.
I know, I got him because I think he tore that family up in Wisconsin or Minnesota or something. But Britt, when I was gone one time, she had to throw food over the kennel run. No one could even get near him. And it was a sad story. There was a nice Indian couple. In fact, he was one of the district attorney in Fresno County. And very nice Indian family, and they had this show Doberman, and he went through my intermediate class, and they were sweet. And I only had Slayer for like 6 months. And they wanted to come see Protection, try out Protection. I said, yeah, no problem. So anyway, I'm working Slayer, they're watching. I'm working Slayer, and I tell him, ouse, and he comes back at me. You know, because he dropped the sleeve, and he's like, nah, nah. I'm like, no, bam, no. And I'm like, oh crap, the sweet Indian couple. I'm like, oh man. So I put him up and everything. I said, I'm sorry you had to see that. He can't come at me. This is just unacceptable. We'll never have to do this with your sweet Doberman. This, what you saw was, you try to explain it and you
Top
can't.
end of the spectrum.
But they didn't ever come back. I know. But I